First of all, thanks for everybody coming on, attendees, as well as people that are going to speak today. But our new title we have is Building Traffic and Consumer Loyalty Through Innovation. The title was kind of selected, through our boards, and a lot of it has to do with building traffic is, of course, always been a very big thing, but even now probably much more important, and at the same point to keep the customers you already have, right? So there's so many changes and things going on. I'm really encouraged, in the chain world, and really, my heart goes out to the people in the independent restaurant world because it's difficult, with all the costs going on. It seems that, chains, because of the buying power, are able to do things at a more affordable price. And unfortunately, the independent guys have to keep increasing the prices to a point that's becoming a pain point. And Allison, you'll probably get into that, as we talk further here about trends and what's going on. But I'm always a positive person and encouraged that this year is going to be better than last year, and we're going to be in a much better place here as we continue through 2026. So Allison Bollinger, she's Associate Director of Client Experience at Datassential, also joined by David Shuler, who's the Director of Food Service for Otis McAllister. And then we've got Walter Rivas, the corporate chef from Avocados from Mexico, and Mark Acosta, who's a senior business development manager for Avocados from Mexico as well. So that's the content. And in the conversations coming up to these events, we always talk about kind of themes and what's going on and what we're going to do. And Allison and actually had done some work, or somebody within the company has done work for Otis McAllister, who's a new sponsor of ours for GCIA. And of course, Avocados from Mexico is an ICCA sponsor. And in that trend presentation, they were doing things that I thought was very interesting because a lot of it lent toward Latin, cuisine and Asian cuisine. And of course, some of the hottest trends we've had for years, but, coming into this year, continuing on as well. So that's what we're going to do. So Allison, I'm going to go ahead and let's get you started.
I'm very excited to be joining you. And I get to talk about the fun stuff, right? We're going to kind of do an overview of the Latin and Asian cuisine trends. These are always really great and fun to talk about. More specifically, we're going to focus on the two ingredients, rice and avocado, and how those are being used within kind of this realm. So before we get into those two types of cuisines, we are just going to do kind of a quick overview of those ingredients, starting out with rice. So a quick overview of the trends. It really is, right? Rice is a core building block for many dishes within these two types of cuisines. It can be, it carries flavor, adds comfort, really gives chefs a flexible canvas to play on. So I just want to spend a couple minutes to go over some of the trends and what we're seeing just within this ingredient. Going to you can see how versatile it is. So many of you are familiar with Datassential's manual adoption cycle, or what we call the MAC, is where, we show for any category type where, the different flavors and ingredients fall within the trend curve. So on the far right, you've got staples like white rice, brown rice, jasmine, that you can really find almost anywhere. But then as you move left, you see more emerging options like black rice and hominy, bamba, and those ancient grains. They're still, they're more niche and really only found at more like chef-driven concepts. So it really gives you the sense of what's safe and familiar within rice versus, what can signal innovation. And then we see how rice is so versatile. So, looking at how frequently rice appears as an appetizer, entree, or side in both Latin and Asian cuisines. We see in Latin cuisine, more than a quarter of entrees include rice. And in Asian cuisines, nearly a quarter of sides feature rice, which really does tell us, the versatility. It can stand alone as a side or be fully integrated into a dish. And we can see the growth in some of these cells too, especially like Asian entrees, where rice is really starting to power that main dish, being incorporated into like many bowls and soups and things like that, rather than just being a side. And then finally, focusing on rice, here we're looking at, how consumers rate the different rice varieties that we ask about in both experience and affinity. Not surprisingly, white rice is most loved, most liked variety, and almost everybody knows it and has tried it. Then, long grain rice, brown rice, also like highlighted as, the most liked or loved. You can see jasmine rice, wild rice on there, really becoming more like flavorful, slightly more adventurous options that still have really strong affinity with consumers. And now we're going to switch. And before we dive into the two cuisine trends, we're going to look at avocados as well. It's really starting to become an ingredient that's been a nice to have in the past to kind of a must have ingredient on so many menus. It's right creamy, it's perceived as this better for you ingredient because of all the nutrients it has. And it really works well with both like Latin and Asian flavors, which is why we want to highlight it. So here we're looking at the long-term trend line for menu penetration, or the percent of menus across the US that mention avocados. We can see that, other than in 2020, avocado has continued a steady growth on menus, currently on 46.7% of all menus and predicted to grow by another 4% in the next 4 years. To put that 4% growth into context, the growth is predicted to outperform about 92% of all foods, beverages, and ingredients that we track. So something as, pretty common and ubiquitous as avocado, to see that future growth is actually a really great story. Now, looking at consumer metrics, awareness of avocado, right? Basically universal. Almost everybody knows about it. Most consumers have tried it. And the affinity score of those consumers who like or love it, that's rising, which is really the main point here. We see really positive movement across all three of these metrics over the past 2 years, which kind of tells us that demand, it's not just stable, but it really is strengthening. And even though everybody kind of already knows it, they're really starting to love or like it more. And then also, we always have to look at social media data. So avocado is getting plenty of love on social. This data comes from Datassential's social listening platform, where our trend experts are in all of the social posts, like cleaning and vetting the data for specific to the foods, flavors, and ingredients of those posts. So in 2025, we saw about a 15% increase in mentions of avocado across all the major social media platforms. So meaning avocado, it's really having an online conversation, whether it's avocado toast pics or guac recipes, those what I ate in a day, those content. Videos that people are sharing. It really is, when we say an ingredient is trending culturally, like in social posts like this, and it's trending on menus, it's a really good signal that consumers are really primed to like notice and try new dishes featuring it. And then kind of going back to menus, we do see where avocado, where it lives as a cuisine standpoint. Not surprising, it's the strongest association with Mexican cuisine, over 80% penetration on Mexican cuisine menus. And there's also, big in Japanese and other ethnicity concepts. But yes, guacamole we see at a lot of in Mexican cuisine, but avocado is way more versatile. It's no longer just tied to one cuisine that we might think about. It's really starting to become like a cross cuisine, cross day part type of ingredient. So let's get into some trends in Latin cuisine, where we're really going to highlight rice and avocado and how this plays into a lot of these dishes. So starting off, I do want to call out some Latin cuisine mega trends. So this is where we see where they would fit on that trend curve. These are some of those earlier stage trends within adoption. And we see things like new starches being introduced, or familiar starches kind of being introduced in new ways. I'm always happy to like share examples, or we always look at, menu examples for these types of things. But you have your essentials like potatoes and rice, and then more coming into the scene like plantains, cassava, things like that. Also, if we look over at another mega trend, sandwiches and handhelds from different Latin regions that maybe US and consumers might not be as familiar with, these are really starting to trend on menus as well, as consumers are starting to demand more convenience, more portability. Operators are trying to think of how can we make the sandwich more innovative, and they're looking to, different countries, different types of cuisines to really innovate. So on Latin menus, rice is offered as like plain or flavored side, and it's utilized as an ingredient within like soups, chili rellenos, nachos, quesadillas, things like that. So here we're looking at the most menued Latin dishes that include rice, and we're looking at sides and apps on the left, and then entrees on the right. So on that left side, we do have rice and beans. Mexican rice is the highest penetration. Again, these are the most popular, menu the most. I would say white rice, yellow rice are seeing really strong growth over the past 4 years. So it's both kind of on that top and trending. And then on the entree side, you have all of your familiar favorites, burritos, tacos, enchiladas, fajitas, but bowls also. We've been talking a lot about bowls over the last, year to 2 years is, definitely being a major rice carrier, as again, people are demanding more customization, to their entrees. So it's really, kind of signaling consumers are open to that customizable. They really kind of want more rice forward formats. Now, here are some of the top performing Latin rice dishes from our launches and ratings database. That composite score in the yellow, it tells us, these dishes are high performers across, several key metrics like purchase intent, uniqueness, frequency draw. These top performers, they're really great for inspiration. We know that, it really resonates with consumers. They show rice can really shine when it's paired with the right flavors, the right proteins, and in the right formats as well. Sticking with Latin cuisine, avocado is also finding its way into sides, apps, and entrees. So here, rather than looking at the most popular like we did with rice, now we're looking at the fastest growing or trending Latin dishes that contain avocado. So for appetizers and sides, classics like chips and guacamole, they're still strong. It's funny, they're pretty ubiquitous and they're still growing quite a bit. And then, ceviche, elote, those types of sides or apps being paired with avocados growing as well. On the entree side, avocados showing up in potato tacos, shrimp fajitas, those spicy pork dishes, right? Really kind of evening out a little bit spicier types of like soups and added to salads. Some of these, items have huge 4-year growth, which makes them really strong platforms for continuous innovation. In fact, I want to highlight potato tacos because this is something we're talking a lot about at Datassential. It's a great example of this approachable, comfort forward vehicle, right? It can carry rice or avocado really easily. They're only about 5% in menu penetration on Mexican cuisine menus, but they've grown over 30% in the last year and more than 40% over the last 4 years. And the reason, we're paying attention, they bring comfort, value, kind of this meatless option that still feels indulgent, especially when you layer on the right salsas and cheeses. Now, switching it up to Asian cuisine, rice, right? It's foundational, from fried rice and sushi, rice bowls, things like that. But we're also seeing avocado emerging within Asian cuisine, especially in sushi and bowls and different types of salads. So here are two Asian cuisine mega trends that I wanted to highlight. First, superfood ingredients within Asian dishes. While still pretty early stage, ingredients like ginger, matcha, turmeric being added, as consumers, they tell us they're looking for more functional ingredients when ordering food away from home. So we're starting to see this within Asian cuisine. I would definitely put avocado in that group of superfood ingredients as well. Then another mega trend is mashups. So these are the dishes actually that we're seeing all over social media. They're combining classic Asian formats with foods and flavors from other cuisine types. You have the Philly cheesesteak egg roll, the kimchi fries, things like that, including rice in a lot of these very maybe different, more unique mashups. It can really help build on that, make them familiar, make them approachable, but kind of that mashup still maintains the fun of the dish. So now we're looking at kind of two lists. We'll focus on rice for a second within Asian cuisine. We're looking on the left, the most popular, so highest menu penetration for Asian rice dishes. And then on the left, we're looking at the trending or fastest growing in the last 4 years. So For the most popular, fried rice has the highest menu penetration with nearly 80% of Asian menus, curry, soups, bowls, and sushi, right? All big rice carriers, and they're very popular. But then on the trending side, Asian dishes with protein as the star ingredient are really on the rise. So you can see, hand rolls, seafood curries, shrimp curries, steak and veggie bowls, really showing a strong 4-year growth. So these are definitely growing. They're trending. Consumers, probably younger consumers, are driving a lot of these trends. And these dishes, not only lean on rice, but a lot of them bring the fresh toppings and sauces and things like that as well. So here's a great example. It's just how simple it can be, right? So it's a simple bowl with very flavorful, with kind of rice, making it very filling. This is an eggplant tofu from Hip Foodie Mom, if anybody's familiar, a popular food blogger that makes really easy but innovative, more Asian recipes. And it's a simple dish. It's bold, flavorful, inherently rice friendly. So we're starting to see a lot of examples like this, and in food service, with those rich sauces, umami heavy dishes that depend on rice as their carrier. So now looking at avocado, both top and trending in Asian dishes that feature avocado. It's, most commonly paired sushi, salads, fried shrimp, rice, definitely rolls. Obviously, the California rolls, dragon rolls are some of the most common carriers for avocado within this cuisine. But then on the trending side, we see avocado popping up in seafood salads, fried vegetable dishes, baked scallops, sushi burritos, even. That's kind of one of those mashups. So there's, growth in simple formats as well. If you can see on that trending list, it's paired with seasoned or steamed rice. A great example of how maybe a basic staple plus a premium topping like avocado can feel like maybe more modern or satisfying. So here's my last example. It's a great one from Flame Broiler. It's a chicken avocado salad made with romaine lettuce, cabbage, carrots, green onion, brown rice as the base, and avocado. It's topped with chicken, and then it has that sweet sesame dressing, which brings in that Asian flavor. It has a very strong composite score of 76 and was a top performer within our launches and ratings database for frequency, meaning people would come back to buy it over and over again. And it looks like it really resonates with customers, right? It checks the boxes. It's customizable, perceived as better for you, and still like indulgent enough to feel satisfying. So I hope I didn't make you too hungry this afternoon. Those are kind of what I have, open to questions or anything like that.
We're going to bring you back on in a minute too. We're going to bring David up now so that we can, hear a little bit more about their organization.
First off, I'm David Shuler with Otis McAllister, and we are really, really excited to be part of GCIA. It's exactly the kind of organization that we've been looking for, and we were really kind of surprised that it existed, that this kind of thing. I've been in food service a long time, and I didn't realize there was this kind of organization. And so when we kind of stumbled into each other, Kevin and I talked, I said, "Oh my goodness, this is so perfect." So we are Otis McAllister. We are one of, if not the largest rice importer in the U.S. We focus on rice and grains, but mostly rice from the origin, from the original source of where it was started. So lots of Southeast Asia for some rices, for India, Pakistan for other rices, for Europe for some other rices. We are focused on getting our customers the rice that they need, the best possible rice they can get from the best possible sources in the country. And so we were founded over 100 years ago in San Francisco. They were Otis and McAllister were two politicians. Don't hold that against us. We've gotten rid of them since. But they were traders. They would go overseas, find some great stuff, bring it back and sell it. Since then, we've become more of an importer where we figure out ahead of time what do our customers need, and we have sources all over the world to make it happen, to help you guys get exactly what you need and where you need it. We are worldwide. We're nationwide here in the US, huge presence in South America, Europe, and North America, and Asia, working on Africa. And Australia as well, but that's kind of our main focuses today. Based out of Orinda, California, just outside San Francisco. like I said, we do import, we do export. We're kind of pretty much anybody who needs product moved from one place to another. We're really, really good at that, and we've done it for a long time. Some of the major brands that we work with from the export side, and then some of our brands here. Again, no need to take notes of what our brands are. You'll at some point, if we're in a selling situation together, I'll tell you about it. But really, we do all kinds of rice, whatever you need. That's what we do. So,
And
and
David,
again,
we also
go
have
ahead.
this for everybody. It's on our website. So, you
There
got
you go.
access to that. So there's, they've got a page on the website. They can tell you a lot more of that as well.
There you go. And so this is the last slide. Again, not I don't want to try to sell everybody on the first time meeting you. This is just who we are, sourcing. That's what we're all about. And then supply chain. We can find the product and we can get it where it needs to be. We do it hundreds of containers a month, from all over the world to all over the world. And so finding the best stuff and getting it where it needs to be is exactly what we do. But beyond that, we are for you guys specifically, this is kind of because we're rice experts, we want to be the rice experts overall, help you with innovation. We know what's being successful and where. Rice bowls is something that many, many years ago, before they were taking off everywhere, we were telling the everyman's bar and grill, hey, I know you've never even had rice in your building before, but a rice bowl is the next big thing. And these trendy bar and grills are now all over the country serving rice bowls, and they'd never served rice before ever. That's an example. If we want to be ahead of the curve, we use resources like Datassential to help us innovate around rice, to understand rice, everything that's going on with rice, and so that we can help our customers do what they need to do. So that's it. When you think rice, think about us. All kinds, no matter what kind, we're happy to help and have the conversation, and we're really excited to support you. If you need anything in the meantime, you can always reach out to me. Otherwise, look forward to hearing from me soon in the near future. So thank you.
David, thanks so much. No, that's awesome. And then we're going to, again, as we get toward the end of this, we have a lot of our members coming on too for part of the Q&A.
Again, Allison, thank you so much for all that insightful info and all the data and stuff. And I'm glad avocado is quite present in all those. Obviously in the Latin cuisine, but we're also very present in the Asian cuisine too. So it's super sick. But just quick intro. I'm Walter. I'm the executive chef here at Avocados from Mexico.
Hi, I'm Mark Acosta, Food Development Manager.
Yeah, so we're basically going to be the people you reach out to or talk to if you ever want to talk about avocados. But just real quick, we just wanted to kind of, I know a lot of you guys probably know what we do, but for the few folks that don't, we just kind of wanted to go through capabilities and see where we can help, because at the end of the day, we are just a checkoff board. So we're a USDA checkoff board that's here to basically support you guys. So however we can provide support and resources, that is kind of our whole deal. So I'll go ahead and share that so you guys can learn a little bit more. And, hopefully there's a nugget here or there that you guys may have or may not have known about. So,
All right, we're going to talk about our food service capabilities. As you can kind of see, we have quite a few partners here that we've worked with in the past. And really our job is to help you bring your avocado vision to life through our partnership. And as you can see, we've worked with a very wide range of food service partners in the industry, and we have a lot of capabilities. We have capabilities from education, which centers around our Avocado University, to back of the house resources, to classic R&D for culinary support. And then we also have a fresh seal program to help you really emphasize the freshness of our avocado. And then obviously, as you'll see towards the end of this, we have some examples of our LTO marketing support that we can do to help you bring that idea of avocados to life in your restaurant.
I want to inject here, if you don't mind, Mark and Walter, but we did something at their university, and it is amazing. If you have a chance to go there, it's in Dallas. We did one of our culinary immersions there, and it's just, to see the resources they have and what they bring to the table and the creativity is just, it's a great experience. So if you have an opportunity, I'm just saying you got to do it.
100%. And for folks like you guys, again, this course is free for you guys. If there's ever a need and you guys already have avocado or are interested in doing something with avocado, this course is great, right? You can get certified in what we call our Avocado University. We're accredited by the ACF and the ADA, so that helps a little bit. But adds a little validity to the whole course. But we can bring your teams in here, your ops people, your field people in-house, and we can do a full hands-on training to help execute and utilize avocado in a more cost-effective way, right? Because we're constantly thinking of new ways of how can we save you on food costs? How can we really stretch that dollar out, especially for a premium item that avocados have kind of become. But yeah, this is a great resource that's available to all you guys. So.
And then also with that, we have lots of back of the house resources. So from digital download information to really quick guides to help you and the team really understand how to use avocados and all of the things that you would potentially learn from an AvoU.
Yeah, everything's available online for you to download if you just want a quick guide to just print and use back of house, or you can reach out to us and Kevin and we can get it to you.
And then on top of that, we have culinary research and support. So Chef Walter can help you look at your ideas, bring those to life in terms of execution, commercialization, as well as we can really ideate. We can do a lot of ideation in terms of things that we're seeing trend-wise, what the data is supporting, and then working hand in hand with you, really bring a lot of these ideas to life and really execute something that makes you happy. And then we also have a fresh seal program. And really what that means is it's a way to signal your customers that you use fresh avocados, because we know fresh avocados have that quality, the premiumness of really delivering on that menu. And really when it's fresh, it stands out. So we have the fresh seal that helps you communicate that to your customers. And it's easy to use, right? So we try to work with you hand in hand to really make that front and center as you bring your ideas to life on your menu. And then obviously we have LTO support. So we're able to do things to help support you in your LTO efforts, whether it's creative, digital assets, in-store assets, or social digital promotion, and then layering PR on top if that's what's needed to help you bring that avocado LTO to life.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of jump in on just some examples. Again, we don't have to dwell and kind of go through all this, but just what LTOs and kind of what support could look like. Again, every situation is unique to each operator, and we are super flexible, and we can activate however makes sense to you guys, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily one size fits all. So just a couple of just slides of just things we've done in the past. So we've done an activation, a couple of markets with Shake Shack where we did kind of like a little guacamole or avocado sommelier station where we did a live free avocado slices for anybody that ordered a burger for people that were at certain Shake Shacks. So that was super cool. We've also done stuff with desserts and on stuff on the sweeter end. So we partnered with Pachugo and created kind of a avocado gelato made with fresh avocado, an awesome, cool play on Cinco de Mayo for this brand. So we launched for May, Cinco de Mayo galachos as we call it. So gelato nachos, that was super cool. And then just different examples on ways that we can appear and way we can provide support, whether that's just a quick little free avocado promo item, we can help subsidize that a little bit. Something cool that we've done that was kind of out of the ordinary, where we created a whole sandwich, even though it looks a little AI generated on here. It's a real sandwich that we created using a whole avocado as buns, and we filled it with a bunch of cool meats, honey mustard and stuff, and this thing tasted amazing. We even put warnings on there to like tell people it's gonna be super messy. Surprisingly, very tasty. And then just a couple more examples with other partners we've worked for, and we've ranged from different cuisine types and different types of operators. So again, we're not super pigeonholed to anything. If you have ideas or you have something that you think avocados will fit in, we're always happy to listen. Just a couple of other things we've done, free avocado. Obviously, we've done stuff with some of the big users like Qdoba, Rubio's, and then some Potbelly and Chipotle and stuff. So yeah, so again, we're here as a resource, and we love just telling people that, and I feel like people have a hard time understanding that we're just here to help you guys out. So there's no strings attached. If you're interested in doing something, if you already use avocado, if you're interested in exploring fresh avocados from Mexico, we're here, right? We can always help subsidize and provide aid in that aspect. So but yeah, that's pretty much it for us. Pretty short and sweet.
That's cool. I'm bringing some other people on now so that some of our members can come on and talk about it. And again, anybody else that wants to come on, just go and chat and just tell us that you'd like to be on to say something, and we'll bring you on to do that. But we have a few other members joining us now. Allison will come back on as well. Tell me, and this goes out to both, David and to the team at Avocados from Mexico. It's like, you're making a lot of presentations out there. What are the hottest things? I mean, what are the things that it's like, man, every day I talk to somebody about this?
There's kind of this weird, big wave on like healthier alternatives or healthier diets, maybe specifically on like the GLP-1 kind of trend that's kind of starting off, right? So we've heard a little bit of that, not necessarily just on the operator side, but on the retail side and some of the consumer feedback that we hear and see on social. Fortunately, avocado is one of those. It's kind of almost like one of the few natural GLP-1 ingredients. So we're very fortunate that avocados are relatively healthy and a super good food for folks. So we've been able to tie in with that a little bit and help operators ideate and kind of play in that space.
We get a lot of questions about because we're so passionate about rice, we often run into people who are not so passionate about rice, and so our job is sometimes to sort of change the perception of a restaurant is, for instance, doing bowls, a poke bowl place. Usually the poke, the tuna is kind of the hero, the star. That's what everybody talks about, and that's very expensive. And so everyone's trying to save money. And so how can we elevate ourselves? How can we premiumize ourselves without spending a ton of extra money? And rice is becoming a really good way to do that because it's really inexpensive. If you talk about per serving, you're talking about pennies. And so if you're using anything other than kind of the barest bones of rice, you can call that out and you can say, well, this is premium, this is exciting, without driving menu prices up. So that's the conversation we've been having a lot lately is a lot of people, for instance, are using jasmine rice and not even, all they say is white rice on the menu. We're saying, oh my goodness, like jasmine rice resonates with people. People, they think that's a huge premium and you're already using it and you're not giving yourself credit for it. And so that's the kind of things we like to talk about with people is how to pre-use rice, not as like just something that we offer and not even think about. How can we make it rice forward, give us some credit, give us some credibility with our customers that we are giving them a premium product without driving costs through the roof.
Yeah, and rice bowls are blowing up everywhere. I mean, it's just right, like in every kind of ethnic cuisine and throughout. So we have Mark Warseski joining us. He's been with us, through some time here. He's now a new board member. He's with Checkers and Rallies. And then we have Steve Sturm, who you guys all know. Steve is Firebird's Wood Fire Grill, but he's also the man now, right? The top dog in the company. Anyway, where do you guys chime in on this? What's happening on your menus, and how are you looking at? And it doesn't have to just be Latin and Asian, but what do you see as trends that are going on and things that you're hearing from customers? It's like, and we better get on this.
Well, I can say from our seat, it's funny both of you bring up bowls and GLP because those are two really big topics for us, and we've been seeing a lot of the trend. We're a little bit lucky that we're the wood fire grill. We do a lot of wood grilled proteins, so we have some advantage from that standpoint. Where we need to up our game is the fiber side of where GLP is beneficial, and certainly on the rice side and even on the avocado side, that would help. And those are things that are heavy on our development. So we're pretty well on our way to launching some new stuff this summer. But both of those play a really good role. And the great things about both of those is that you can really deliver a lot of flavors and go in a lot of different directions, whether using a rice or grain as the base, and obviously avocado is that premium, both a visual creaminess that's natural. So a lot of this is just right on point to what we're working on right now.
That's cool. Mark?
Yeah. So, only been here a couple months, so still kind of jumping in and kind of understanding what our kind of innovation pipeline is and looks like. But both the ingredients, definitely can be used, on our menu. A quick question on the avocado side in terms of, has there been any changes in kind of distribution of fresh versus frozen and how it's used back of house. What has been, the uses and the changes over, the last couple of years.
I couldn't speak for the other side, obviously, since we only represent the fresh. But either way, we've seen, again, even going piggybacking from what Allison said, there's been an increase in usage even in this case. And I think we've been fortunate in the sense that we've been sort of a kind of a trend for a long time. And even now we've kind of been accepted as kind of the premium option in the space. But yeah, I couldn't tell you what the other folks are doing, but we have been seeing, at least from some of the operators we talked to, uh, an appreciation to have that add-on for some folks, right? Whether that's
Mhm.
just for that healthy halo to a sandwich or to an entree, just making people feel like they're doing a little bit better and they're, treating themselves and their body correctly. So, but yeah, anything else on
Yeah,
this?
Cool.
that's it.
Hey, Josh, yeah, I'm going to say, Josh, you have something, or Mark, do you have any follow-up on that?
Nope, nope, that was
Okay.
it.
So I'm the executive chef for Texas Roadhouse. We don't do a lot of Asian bowls, I guess, if you will, there, but we also do Bubba's 33 and Jaggers as two other concepts that we have. Um, we do a lot of rice at Roadhouse. Obviously, we're always trying to find new ways to create different entrees with those and avocados and everything based on our price of beef right now is kind of nuts, right? So we are looking at ways we can elevate some other stuff, green chili chicken, and what have you. We're testing actually kind of a chicken dish that has rice and avocado on it in one of our markets actually right now. So it's really kind of on point. As far as the Asian food is concerned, it's actually kind of funny. We never really considered that for Texas Roadhouse, but we started playing around with it a little bit with Bubba's, this rice bowls and things like that. And our Jaggers concept, we put out a couple Asian LTOs, and they went flying off the shelves. So it's actually was kind of interesting. We didn't think that our customers would want it, but we did a Korean gochujang hot honey chicken sandwich, for example, with some different flavorings to it, and even calling out gochujang for our customers. And in 6 weeks, with 15 stores, we sold 40,000 of them. So our customers definitely like it. We introduced a new taco, a poblano chicken taco at Bubba's, and we wanted to keep the price to where it was. It originally had avocado on it, and instead we put it on as an add-on on the menu. Add avocado for $1.99 or something like that. And I was looking up during the call, majority of them are all getting it with avocado. So it's working great as far as an upsell for us, right? So looking at those, we call them smothers, we call them different things, but how can we use some of these ingredients to enhance the dish or upsell something else on the menu? But anyways, other than that, I just, again, thought it was a great presentation. And, we're always looking for ways to educate our guests, and we're always looking for ways to do something outside of just the high price of beef. So again, I appreciate it. And the chefs on the call, you guys have any information or white sheets or ideas or anything, please, more than welcome to always send it our way. We'll always look.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to throw it back to you guys at Avocados in Mexico, So, there, I know we were talking primarily here, about Asian and Latin, but I know you guys are pushing the envelope in a lot of other areas. Can you talk about some other things? Are you making inroads into, and I don't want to throw things out there, but like, Italian restaurants or other things like that? Are you trying to, what's going on? How do you penetrate some of those other areas that are not necessarily known for use of avocado?
Well, unfortunately, we only have one SKU. So when you're limited by one ingredient, it makes it real easy to just play in other aspects in other areas. But no, we've been very fortunate, especially I think in the last couple of quarters, I think we've been focusing more on, we've seen a good success with people accepting it more as a fruit. We are a fruit. So playing more in that sweet and kind of like that healthy bowl space, whether that's like maybe a poke bowl, so kind of more on the Asian side, or even like an acai bowl. So we tie in pretty well in those fields, and recently we've also seen a very good traction in that breakfast space too, right? So whether you're having eggs for breakfast and like a classic American omelet, slather in some avocado slices, that people have kind of accept that that's a great option. Or even in, a little bit more experimental, but even in the cocktail space, and beverage space, we've been seeing certain bars serving avocados on espresso martinis, or we've seen avocado being served with margaritas and certain stuff. So, yeah, I think, in our space, we just keep exploring, we keep playing, and, I think we're relatively friendly. So sometimes we have operators reach out and they're like, hey, what can we do? And we'll figure out a way to partner up and find a space in your menu.
It's interesting you bring up the margarita side because, of course, we've done that at our events in the past,
Yeah.
which has been very successful. And I will say I spent living in Orlando, Florida, a little bit of time at Epcot. And I'm telling you what, man, they kill it. Their avocado margarita they do, first of all, it's excellent. But beyond that, it is like I'd venture to even guess like what the numbers are on the sales for that. Like it's great.
We have talked to some of those Disney folks, and they
Yeah,
sell a lot of
yeah,
margaritas.
it's
It's impressive. It's a great bar, by the way. It's
yeah.
in the little Mexico Pavilion in Epcot.
It
So,
is. I love that place. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. David, I'll go back to you as well on that same kind of question. But, I know all the different rices you bring in, you're probably working on a lot of different things outside of just, Asian and Latin as well. Italian, obviously, arancinis. I mean, it's got to be, a lot of other things there. So what do you see that's kind of trending up in the other areas, even, like breakfast space or whatever?
Yeah, we're really we were surprised. Everyone else is probably going to be surprised when they hear this, but about 5 years ago, because we're the largest importer of jasmine rice in the world, we really focused on jasmine rice sometimes, and so we kind of went out and made a push and didn't really expect a lot of success in the Hispanic restaurants, and all of a sudden every Hispanic restaurant we talked to has started buying jasmine rice. And so it was this really interesting, there's this unfair reputation that, oh, it's a Mexican restaurant and they must use only cheapest ingredients possible. And that's probably true for some, just like it's true for some burger places or whatever. But we really found that there wasn't that kind of, no, we don't want to use premium ingredients. There was this hunger for, we want good stuff. The people, and so Jasmine Rice has been or Hispanic restaurants has been our fastest growing segment in our company for many, many years in a row. For Jasmine Rice, we also do all kinds of other rices for other Hispanic restaurants as well. But we were really surprised to see that. And then recently, in that same space, we're seeing breakfast burritos. And not just the plain old eggs, beans, and chorizo, but all kinds of different breakfast burritos and breakfast tacos. Some that use rice and some that don't, but it's really this kind of new day part for a lot of Hispanic restaurants. Breakfast is not, they're usually not even open for breakfast. A lot of them aren't. And so we're seeing a lot of Hispanic restaurants looking for ideas, Hispanic themed food for breakfast that Americans will eat. It is kind of the all the criteria, and rice has been fitting into breakfast some in that space. So yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a rise in breakfast, but a huge rise in Hispanic restaurants for Jasmine Rice, which surprised me when I started here. I wouldn't have thought that, but it's been our fastest growing segment for our Jasmine Rice business.
Yeah, does somebody else have a comment on that? I was going to throw something to Allison. Allison, I know that, today our presentation was focused on certain areas because you guys do so much, but it's like, outside of that, I mean, what are some of the things that you're seeing out there that, is going on with the environment that we're in today, economically and whatever, or demographically? A GLP-1 came up too. I'm sure you guys have a ton of research on that, but that certainly is changing habits of people and their purchasing in restaurants.
It is. You're right. And, we have done a lot of research over the last year on GLP-1s, those consumers who are on them or who might be interested in them, how it's changing their eating behaviors. And we're continuing to evolve that because while it was a smaller percent of, consumers, it's really growing. So we're continuing to do lots of research on that here in 2026. But I would say a lot of trends that is actually driven by that right now is obviously it's been protein. So both on social, in social, in restaurants, a lot more call outs on menus and LTOs of protein packed, of, really highlighting the grams of protein within menu items. And now, already mentioned fiber as well. We're saying fiber is the new protein, especially in 2026 with fiber maxing being a huge, TikTok trend. How much fiber can you put into one recipe? And that's really kind of taken on the conversation. Protein's still really important, but we're now seeing actual LTOs at smoothie places and things like that calling out fiber within their menu items because it's attracting those consumers that are on GLP-1. But the thing about GLP-1s, it still might be a small amount of, number of consumers that are on them, but others are looking to adapt their eating habits in their own health journeys, right? So they know that I might not be on the drug or I might not be taking the medication, but I want to eat like those that are because something is working. So they're starting to adopt the habits, higher protein, higher fiber, smaller portion sizes, which again, that's what we've been talking about, that more customizable type of entree, like a bowl, like something that you can have a base like rice, you can add premium ingredients. Especially younger consumers, they're almost demanding now. They want to customize their entree, right? And they want to be able to add the flavors and ingredients that they like, and it's specific to them so that they can go post about it. So that's a lot of the trends that we're really seeing being driven by a lot of like the GLP-1, but also just younger consumers and what they're demanding from food service operators.
I can just speak personally, from my standpoint, the amount of friends and people that I know that I dine with frequently. I mean, especially lunch, I go out and they're like, I'm not going to eat much, so can we order something I can eat? So it definitely alters what I may, which I'm happy to do. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm happy to say, yeah, it's fine. We'll get this dish and we'll share it, because it's something you can eat. It's higher protein, starch or whatever, depending on what, they're also sometimes on diets as well. But it does. I mean, it's really changed the world. I mean, and diets probably already have, really. I mean, we can go back 25 years or more, right, and see some of the fad diets that went on back then. But this one seems to be sticking, and it's been around for a while, and it's growing still.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. As new formats come where I think it's becoming into a pill now, right? Like it's going to continue to grow and become more accessible.
Yeah. Hey, some
Yeah,
of
I
our
saw a
members that are on, can
presentation.
you guys talk to that? Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple presentations over the last 3 weeks, and right now it affects, I think it is households is over 20% of households are affected by some GLP user.
Wow.
That number, once they introduce which they just recently, the pill, they expect that to grow well over 50% in the next 3 years. And so it is here to stay. Now there are some people who start the GLP, get to a certain weight, and then stop, but their eating is to typically continue so they can maintain post GLP injection or pill. And so it's not like they do it and then they stop eating this particular way. It really, they basically shrink their stomach and they change their eating habits and focus more on the high protein, high fiber diets. So it is something that if you're not taking notice, you should, because this is going to change behavior pretty significantly, and it already is. You're seeing it with portion sizes. A lot of companies are offered, rather than cutting portion size or going to small plates, they're offering multiple sizes for entrees. So it gives those people an opportunity. You've seen that with Olive Garden has recently done that and had quite a bit of success. It also helps to play into the value, so that if you're wanting to spend a little bit less money, you have an option for a smaller entree as well. So it sort of plays into both of those very big trends right now.
Yeah, interesting. Hey, Josh, question for you, because obviously in the category you're in, obviously beef plays a major role, as does protein. And Mark, you probably are in this boat as well. It's like, what are you seeing there? I mean, are people changing, like ordering, less of, certain other items, like cutting back on the fries or cutting back on starches or whatever, to increase the protein or other things, fiber as well?
Yeah, we've discussed it here and there, and we haven't got hit too much with it at this point, you know. And when you're looking at our P mixes and things like that, we might not be selling as many, you know, the larger steaks. But the thing is for us is, you know, just given the way the steaks are, they can get whatever size they want, right? So, you know, we do see an increase in some things like our 6-ounce sirloin or our filet medallions versus that big bone-in ribeye, you know, kind of thing. But it hasn't really hit us too bad. Our side P mix is probably shifted a little bit over the course of the year, just from different things like rice, for example. You know, we do see a mixture in that. As far as our Jaggers guests, we see a little more there, where we're being actually asked for the first time, hey, is there this power bowl method? Is there another type of entree for us? So we're leaning into like a new salad LTO in April, and that's also going to be an Asian type salad as well. But it's more fits that power bowl type thing. The fiber people, you guys talked about the fiber. That's actually interesting to me. I'm wondering, I'm gonna do a little more research in that, because we do have some things. We are going through our menus and we are looking at healthy halos, if you will. What are some opportunities to make some things a little bit maybe healthier, just for future reference stuff. But the fiber thing is interesting to me. I'm gonna take a look, because if we can call some of these out and see if it makes an effect, I mean, that could be interesting.
Awesome. Mark, any follow-up on that, or, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, the beef prices, just like Josh said, definitely are affecting, you know, us, and we're looking at, you know, how do we do some dual messaging, you know, because we're not going to move away from promoting, you know, those burgers, but can we have a chicken sandwich or something else alongside of that burger at the same time, that can also be promoted, and maybe switch some of that mix over there, and really try to help our margin, because, you know, the burger margin, you know, we're definitely taking a hit there.
Yeah. Very cool. We're about to wrap up. Any closing comments from anyone? And we'll go to our closing video. But I appreciate all of you, you know, being on here and being panelists to talk to us. And I appreciate all of our members and sponsors that we have, you know, in the audience. But thanks so much for being there. Just a comment just came up, you know, from Dennis. By the way, they have a new name, new sponsor name. But grass-fed beef, he put healthier option all the way around. So I know there's a big push for that in a lot of areas. That's a good comment, Dennis, but good to see you, man. So they're called Greenstone Meats now, is the name. So when you see that logo on our websites, or you see it in our newsletter, like everybody has gotten, it was the Lamb Company is what it was before, right? So now their focus actually is, you know, changing a little bit. And of course, the green, playing off on the green, is probably a very smart move in the company name, because the last company name was focused on one part of what they do and not everything that they do.